Here we are, video number 3 of Are We in a Bubble? What could cause a crash? 4 things that we're going to talk about. What could cause a crash? 1, an increase in interest rates. An increase in interest rates, of course, is going to make lending become more expensive. It's going to slow building, slow lending, and that's all going to have an impact on supply and demand. Now, would a slow, steady interest rate increase cause a catastrophe? The answer is, of course, no. But could one argue that an increase in interest rates did precede the 2006 crash? And that answer is, of course, yes. But you see, between 2004 and 2006, a lot of people had adjustable rate mortgages and interest-only loans. So when home prices fell, people could not afford to sell their home for what they paid for it, and they also couldn't afford to make the payments. Between 2004 and 2006, interest rates went like this. We were at 1% in 2004. That doubled to 2.25% in 2005. And then 6 months later, doubled to 4.25%. And just another 6 months later, went up to 5.25%. Today, we're looking at interest rates like this. In 2015, we went up about 0.5 percentage point. Then in 2016, interest rates increased to 0.75%. And just this year, they went up to about 1.25. They went up about 1.25%. So are we seeing an interest rate increase? The answer is yes, but that interest rate increase is much less than it was between 2004 and 2006, not as rapid, and interest rates are still at an all-time low. Number 2, if banks and hedge funds returned to investing in risky financial products like bundling up mortgages and slicing them up like a piece of pie and selling them. You see, this was big business prior to the crash of 2006. In fact, this business was even bigger than the mortgage industry itself. When these good and bad mortgages were packed into these sweet looking little packages, they were literally rotting from the inside out. So as the market started to head south, people began to get really, really skeptical, and all of these mortgages were thought of as being bad. This, of course, caused extreme skepticism and extreme volatility. And here's all my keys. Down the market crashed. Number 3, the new Trump Tax Reform Act could trigger a fall in prices. And many, of course, think that it's time for a little bit of a price correction, especially in some of the areas that I talked about in the previous video. Now, the Trump Tax Reform Act does lower tax rates. It doubles the standardized deduction, and it eliminates itemizing, which means people can no longer take advantage of deducting their moving expenses, and they wouldn't be able to take advantage of the mortgage interest rate deduction. And it now limits that deduction to the first $750,000 of the loan. And number 4, if interest rates for short-term treasuries become higher than long-term yields. Did I just yawn? That was a fake yawn. But some of that stuff will literally put you to sleep unless you're into it. So if you really like TMI, then of course reach out to me, and I'm happy to answer any of those questions, comments, concerns, and of course anything about this information as well. What is the point of all these videos? The point is that I am researching this stuff and studying this stuff every day. This is my jam, and it might not be your jam, and you don't want to spend time on Google researching this stuff so that you know about the market. But I do, because this is what I do. So I'm doing it for obviously myself, but for people like you, so if you have questions, you can certainly reach out to me for any of those answers or just comments and concerns in general. And of course, if you are ready to buy a home or sell your home, my time is yours. Reach out to me when you are ready, and I am, of course, happy to help. Next video, what caused the crash, followed by how to protect yourself from a crash.